Today we have Shakespeare's famous play Hamlet. First, for all learners of English, I'll tell you the story in simple terms. After that, I shall talk about the literary aspects of the play, very beneficial for students of literature and also for all those of you who want to learn in-depth English, advanced English, English at a higher level. Hamlet, the Prince of Denmark, is a story which talks about a young man. Before the play begins, this young man's father, the King of Denmark, has been murdered by his own brother Claudius. I'm not telling you the names. So the father of the Prince of Denmark, Hamlet, has been murdered by the uncle. When Hamlet comes into this capital city, he sees his father's ghost. And the ghost comes and tells him that you must take revenge. Hamlet is totally confused because not only has the uncle taken away the father's kingdom, but he has also married his mother, that is the earlier king's queen. So these two reasons are for which Hamlet is totally confused and he has to take revenge. The entire story of the play is how he plans the revenge. It is very difficult to take revenge against members of your own family. Hamlet finds this difficult. So he decides that he can pretend to be mad. If he is mad, he can find out if the ghost is really telling the truth and he should take revenge. He is also confused about how he should take revenge. Then a group of players, that is actors, come here and they stage a play. And this play is exactly like the plot of the murder where the king was assassinated. Hamlet feels that his uncle will feel very guilty and admit that yes, I have killed my own brother. But the uncle does not do any such thing. Again, Hamlet keeps trying and trying. In the meantime, he tells his friend and his mother that he is only pretending to be mad. He is not really mad. But seeing his madness, the girl he loves feels very depressed. And when she approaches him, tries to talk to him, he rejects her very cruelly because the killing of his father has made him so unhappy that he is not able to think of anything or anyone. The ghost's demand that he take revenge also has a terrible impact on his mind. So the entire story is a psychological story. You can see how even today these elements of psychology in the mind of people are so common. This young girl who really loves Hamlet feels terrible. And then when Hamlet is talking to his mother in a secret chamber, he finds that behind the curtain a spy is hiding. And that spy is the spy of the uncle who is the father of this girl also. Hamlet kills that man, and the twin sorrows, one is that Hamlet has rejected her, second is her father has been killed. These make the young girl commit suicide. The play is full of deaths, almost everybody dies. Then the brother of this young girl, who has also lost his father, comes to take revenge on Hamlet. The uncle says this is a wonderful occasion to kill Hamlet and have the kingdom for myself. Therefore, he mixes a cup of poison and keeps it. And he also puts poison on the swords with which these young men will fight. He goes to watch the fight, and with the wound of this poisoned sword, both these young men, Ophelia's brother, the young girl's brother, and Hamlet are wounded to death. But seeing this terrible situation, Hamlet's mother drinks that cup which is poisoned, and she dies. Before dying, Hamlet finally takes the revenge by killing his uncle. So almost all the main characters in the play are dead. It's called a tragedy, that is why. And the last sentence Hamlet says is that, this is the end. His friend Horatio tells us the story. That is how it happens. Since Denmark nobody is left, the Norwegian prince comes and becomes the king of Denmark. That is where the story ends. All of you can use the story to practice your English. The literature students can remember this story because the structure of the play, the plot, and the arrangement of scenes is based on this framework. Let us now start talking about the literary aspects. The first thing I want you to talk about is to think rather. The play is called The Tragedy of Hamlet. That's enough title, but it doesn't end there. Did you ever think why the play also has in the title The Prince of Denmark? I'll tell you the reason. The reason is because Hamlet's father is also called Hamlet. So if you say the tragedy of Hamlet, it might mean the death of the father. But that's not the story. In our story, the main character, the protagonist, is the young Prince of Denmark. He's a young boy, and he's the one who loses his father, who's also called Hamlet. Now let us talk about the characters before we go into other aspects. Hamlet, as I told you, is the protagonist, the main character. His father, who only appears as a guest in this drama, as a ghost in this drama, is also called Hamlet. Ghosts were very popular in the Elizabethan times, so in many of Shakespeare's plays you will find it. He has no real existence. He is only the ghost. Claudius is the uncle. Gertrude is the mother. Ophelia is the young girl who's in love with him. Her father is Polonius, and Laertes is the brother. Horatio is the friend. And the two people who really plot are Guildenstern and Rosencrantz. These two people, not very important, but the plot goes ahead with all this. There are many other characters, plot and subplots. All these are very important. The important character here is the character of Hamlet. So when we talk about the character of Hamlet, we must talk about the psychological dimension. More than 300 years before Freud, who is considered to be the father of Western psychology, here was a dramatist, not very educated. He never went to the university, but he was dealing with deep psychological problems in the character of Hamlet. And one of the greatest problems is procrastination, that is postponement, that is indecisiveness. Hamlet's entire tragedy is because of this. Aristotle talks about the tragic flaw. So here is the tragic flaw in the character of Hamlet. In a soliloquy, he says, to be or not to be, that is the question. This is what existentialists said. Jean-Paul Sartre, for instance, being and nothingness, being and becoming. That is what Shakespeare was using 400 years back by saying, to be or not to be, that is the question. Many lines from this play are very, very important. They have become a part of the English language. When you read the play, you will find all of them. Now, when we talk about the importance of the play, we must also remember that it is the longest play of Shakespeare. It has more lines than other plays. And it is also the most complex and the most popular play of Shakespeare among his tragedies. So all elements of tragedy are there, but the main character is what attracts the attention. Now let us move on to the themes of the play. The play, as I told you, has this major theme, and that is the way in which people's minds work. You can see in the Uncle Claudius great ambition, which we also saw in Julius Caesar and Macbeth, the concept of ambition, the desire. Soon I will do another comedy that is As You Like It. There you will find the younger brother takes away the crown, the dukedom. Similar thing we saw in Tempest, where again the younger brother took over Miranda's father's kingdom. And that is what we see here also. Gertrude is a character who brings in the Oedipus complex in Hamlet. Because Hamlet loves his mother inordinately, and he wants to take revenge against the person who is married to the mother. And that is how, we have the Greek story of Oedipus, who kills the father and marries the mother. This kind of a complexity, many critics have now said that in Hamlet, you can see elements of Oedipus complex, which of course much, much later Freud will talk about. The story of Oedipus is very old, but the concept of Oedipus complex is not so old. That is a major part of the theme of psychology. Look at Ophelia. Ophelia has a feeling of love which turns into depression and self-hate. She wants to kill herself because she's not able to get what she wants. This happens very often. Either you kill somebody or you kill yourself. We see this in contemporary world also. And therefore, the play has great contemporary relevance. We find that just like the King Hamlet's son wants to take revenge, Polonius' son also wants to take revenge. And the revenge is for the killing of the father. This works powerfully in the psychological theme and leads us to the next theme, and that is the theme of revenge. Shakespeare is trying to portray how easy it is to say that we should take revenge, how difficult it is to actually take revenge. This we have to keep in mind. When we read the play, we find that an entire 5-act play is devoted to this major thematic concern, how to take revenge. Now, what are the questions here? Hamlet is worried that the ghost might not be his real father's ghost. It might be just an aberration of his own mind, and therefore he cannot believe that his uncle is guilty. The first point is to make his uncle admit that he is guilty. The uncle, of course, is very smart, will not admit guilt, and he knows that Hamlet wants to take revenge. Before that, he takes revenge by putting poison on the swords. So revenge becomes very complex. Polonius wants to be in the good books of Claudius, therefore he comes for revenge. The entire play, the play within the play, is one way of taking revenge. If you see something on stage, you immediately feel as though you also want to do that. But that doesn't succeed also. When you read these plays, your mind must be this theatre, and the whole thing should be enacted in your mind. Then you will find literature becomes that much easier. Now we come to another very important point, and that is politics. There is, in politics, making the best of your opportunities. As long as King Hamlet was there, people would support him. As soon as Claudius becomes the king, everybody starts supporting him, forgetting the old king, including Gertrude, who was the wife of the earlier king, happily married to the new king. That is the political situation which is being shown here. Now, young Hamlet is the Prince of Denmark. Therefore, actually, he should be the king. When his father dies, the kingship should come to him. It doesn't come. Again, it is a political twist, because the uncle usurps the throne. USURP. The concept of usurping is very, very common. Whenever you read European history, you find that, somebody or the other takes over the throne of someone else. In Indian history too, you will find many such stories. You kill everybody in your family and then you take over the throne. So this is the political dimension. It is happening even today. Of course, you're not killing, because in a democracy, what we have is we change governments. Every few years we can change the government. But again, you are changing. You are not keeping your loyalty to a single one or to a single group. These are all the dimensions you have. Now, the play has many symbols and many dramatic devices. Let me talk about the dramatic devices first. I have already mentioned 2-3 times the play within the play. Hamlet wants to find out if his uncle is guilty. So these players enact similarly, where the king is lying down and poison is poured into his ear. So he dies. This is the play. It is called The Mouse Trap. Very, very important title, Mouse Trap. If you see mice, then you put a trap. And the mice, any mouse which comes near it gets caught in that trap. So this is the trap to find out the truth about the guilt of Uncle Polonius. But the mouse trap fails. This is a significant dramatic device. There are many soliloquies. Soliloquy, as I have already told you in other videos, is where a character on the stage is speaking directly to the audience. Usually the characters speak to each other. They are all on the stage and they speak to each other. But sometimes, even if there are many characters on the stage, one person comes forward and talks to the audience as though he's talking about his thoughts and ideas. The other characters behave as though they can't hear it. Many of Hamlet's soliloquies are alone, and there he's communicating his confusion of mind with the audience. His state of mind, his sorrow, his feeling of unhappiness, and his total, confusion as to what he should do. All these are given in soliloquy so that the audience knows the characters in the play don't know. The characters are unaware of the conflict in Hamlet's mind, but the audience realizes the conflict. This is one of the greatest points in this play, and no other play has Shakespeare so successfully depicted a character and the thoughts of that character as in Hamlet. Now we have symbols. The ghost and the coming of the ghost are very powerful symbols, because on the other side of life also there is communication. That is what the Elizabethans wanted. The Elizabethans believed this, and therefore we find that right at the beginning of the play, Shakespeare is using this concept of the coasts. You might remember Macbeth, which I did. There also you have Banquo's coast, and you also have the three witches at the beginning. All these made the plays very popular. Shakespeare never thought that we would read these plays in our college or in our syllabus. He was writing for entertainment, and he was giving the audience what they wanted. In this way, hiding behind curtains and hiding behind places is a very important symbol. Polonius is killed because he's hiding and hearing all the words. He wants to go and report to his master, and that is Claudius. In this way, the play is very rich with many elements which you should read carefully. I have given you a short introduction to the literary aspects of the play. Now you need to read the play in its original form. The English is a little old, 400, 500 years old English, but still Shakespeare is one person who gave many words to the English vocabulary, to the English language. So we need to read Shakespeare in its original. All the other plays of Shakespeare which are there on the channel also, please watch and share. They are all in the playlist, and many other literature texts are there in the literature playlist, where also Shakespeare is there, as one of you suggested. All these, if you keep watching regularly, you will find that you are getting more and more ideas as to how to analyze a play or a poem or a short story or a novel, anything. You can do it yourself. And that is what the quality of literary analysis in each of you is. Not only listening to others' analysis, but attempting to do it yourself. Send in your comments about what you thought of the play, what you thought of whatever I told you, and how much you changed your opinion or supplemented your opinion once you read the play. Your comments are very important for your literary development. And for all language learners, these are higher levels of English which all of you need to learn. Thank you and all the best.